I was a sex ed teacher in the classroom for about 10 years, and I saw the need as well as the pushback to sex education in schools. There are so many great organizations, teachers, and journalists who are working around the clock to ensure that every kid receives quality sex education in schools, and I appreciate their efforts. I believe that all kids deserve honest, non-judgmental, medically accurate, and age-appropriate sex ed. And knowing what I know as a sex ed teacher and as a parent, I'm not going to wait for the schools to do it. I'm Kathleen, and I make videos for parents on how to have the modern day sex talks. Y'all know I used to teach basic level human sexuality courses to undergrads, the majority of whom were around 18 or 19 years old. About half of them thought urine came out of the vagina. No one ever taught them from K to 12 basic anatomy and physiology. And I gotta tell you, it's difficult to have college level discussions on sex ed when students don't understand basic bodily functions. Advocates for comprehensive sex ed want to fill in these basic knowledge gaps, but there's so much pushback from parents. One excuse a parent gave was, I've actually had a parent say this to me, but their brain is not ready, as their reason for not having the sex talks. Kids are ready to learn. They are observing and taking in loads of new information every day, both inside and outside the classroom. There are guidelines for age-appropriate sex ed in schools based upon the same principles for child learning pedagogy. And parents, it's basically like laying a foundation to build towards the sex talks in the future. If you're using medically accurate terms for the genitals with your toddler, you're laying a foundation to the sex talks. If you're talking about secrets versus surprises, you're laying a foundation to the sex talks. If you're asking your child for a kiss or cuddle and explaining basic ideas around consent, you're preparing them for the sex talks, and that's a good thing. It's setting up the cornerstones to talking about what is sex and sexuality and sexual consent and sexual abuse. One of the reasons kids in my sex ed class would ask their sex questions and never fall asleep during my lectures was because I purposefully curated a safe and comfortable and welcoming environment in the classroom. I let students know that I wouldn't judge their questions, nor would I dismiss their questions. I would let them know that I don't know everything, but I am always willing to find out and get back to them with an answer. Research supports creating a safe and nurturing environment for learning, and this is translated into the home environment. Adolescents who describe their home environment as warm and supportive were more likely to delay their sexual initiation. Feeling connected to family and school is also a critical factor in delaying adolescent sexual risk-taking. And according to the Child Molestation Research and Prevention Institute, 95% of child molestation can be prevented through education and educating your child before anything happens. It's not all up to the schools to teach sex ed, and it doesn't have to be left up to the parents alone. What I'd recommend is a mix of both. Schools that want to teach sex ed to students need to be offering parent education at the same time, because the vast majority of parents didn't receive the best sex ed when they were growing up. Parents need to know what is being taught in the classroom and how they can complement that education in the home. Schools can provide the medically accurate sex ed information and reinforce the factual information to ensure that kids are not believing myths and outdated stereotypes. And then parents can continue that conversation in the home and share their family values around that sex topic. But many parents are hesitant about the sex talks. They're afraid they're going to say the wrong thing and mess up their kid. But when schools and parents come together and support each other in sex education, the winners are our kids. If you're interested in a workshop for parents to complement your school's sex ed curriculum, please feel free to reach out to me. I do provide this service. Having been in this field for a long time, I see the disconnect between parents and schools. Schools want to help all kids understand the spectrum of sexual health topics, and they also understand the importance of early sex ed in breaking down misinformation and keeping kids safe. Parents feel that through their parenting choices, religious and cultural values, and personal beliefs, that they know what is best for their child when it comes to sex education. And I don't doubt that the majority of parents know their own kid better than their kid's teacher does. But as parents, we need to remember that kids learn differently, that kids learn skills and meet milestones at different times. Some kids have a safe and supportive home environment, whereas some kids don't feel connected and safe in their home. Some kids are more eager than others to learn about their bodies and sexual health, and some kids are currently being abused. Providing medically accurate and age-appropriate sex ed in schools, starting from the primary school age, may be one way for some kids to realize that they are being abused. It may give other kids the knowledge and skills to prevent potential abuse. Or it may be the place where kids learn that it's okay to talk about their bodies and sexual health and come home to continue that conversation with you, their parent. And then you can share your family values, your religious or cultural or personal beliefs on that topic. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Let's try and find a balance between school and at-home sex ed. I'm Kathleen, and if you found this video to be helpful, please share it with a parent friend or your kid's school, and let's see how we can further the conversation. And as always, I'll be back next week with another video.